What happened to John Connor in every Terminator timeline due to the time travel nature of the Terminator franchise? There are many different versions of the future resistance leader and savior of humanity, John Connor. The Terminator series, at its core, was about Sarah Connor and her son John's fight against the artificial superintelligence Skynet and avoiding a fated war between humans and machines. Throughout the duo's multiple adventures, several contradicting and overlapping timelines were created that gave the character of John Connor a complex and often confusing life story. The original Terminator timeline created a paradox that made John Connor's existence something that could not exist without some sort of time travel intervention. John's role as the future leader of the Resistance was explored in sequels, reboots, and a television spin-off, and the events of his childhood can vary vastly across the plethora of timelines within the franchise. There have even been instances where John does not fulfill his role and, for one reason or another, the future prophesied in the original Terminator never came to pass. The original Terminator timeline was never depicted within the franchise and acted as the series of events before the T-800 and Kyle Reese arrived in the past. In this original and unaltered timeline, the leader of the Resistance against Skynet, John Connor, was born to the then 19-year-old Sarah Connor in 1985. After Skynet became self-aware and war broke out between humans and machines, Sarah trained her young son to become the leader of the Resistance. After Skynet lost the war, Skynet sent the T-800 to the past to kill Sarah and ensure that John would never be born. To ensure his existence, John sent Resistance Saw leader Kyle Reese to the past to protect his mother from the T-800. Reese would father a child with Sarah, who turned out to be John Connor, creating a paradox that meant that if Reese was never sent back to the past, then John would never have been born. This became a continuous cycle of conflicting timelines that only fed into the myth of John Connor as a messianic figure created outside of time and space to defeat Skynet. How the original John Connor was born in the first place defies all logic. Once the original timeline had been altered in Terminator, the John Connor seen in Terminator 2, Judgment Day had a different childhood than the one seen in the original timeline. With knowledge of the upcoming war between humans and machines, Sarah Connor was incarcerated for her violent attempts to stop Judgment Day, and John lived with foster parents and believed his mother was delusional. In the future, a new shapeshifting machine, the T-1000, was sent to the past to kill John Connor, while the Resistance sent a reprogrammed T-800 to protect him.